Diddy's trial is tomorrow, and just one day before Diddy goes to court, Justin Bieber has revealed what Diddy did to him when he was 13. The curtains are finally being pulled back on how Justin was handed over to Diddy and how names like Usher, L.A. Reid, and Clive Davis were involved in one of the biggest sex trafficking rings in Hollywood. Rumors of Justin being involved in drug use as a result of the trauma he received at the hands of Diddy are coming, and this proves that Justin is struggling. Allegedly, Justin is being subpoenaed to appear as a witness, and he knows that he's on the tapes that Diddy recorded.
I'm begging you, Robert.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin, You know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're
He got me a Lamborghini.
Well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
good.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you tried to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. But you never really got my number, so.
Right, okay.
My number?
Yeah.
Tell you my number.
Yeah.
What do you care about, guys? It's money. You don't care about people. Only money. Only money. No people. You don't care about human beings. Go.
Justin Bieber was 13 when his single One Time went viral on YouTube. At the time, Justin was just an internet sensation, and Usher would come into the picture to turn him into the global pop star he became. Usher's record company, LaFace Records, contacted Justin, and his manager, L.A. Reid, realized that Justin could be the next big thing. Immediately, Justin was signed and handed over to Usher. Usher knew how to navigate the industry, and most importantly, he had Diddy behind him. Usher gave Diddy custody of Justin, and we all know what happened next.
I was flown out to Atlanta by a manager. His name's Scooter Braun. Flown out to Atlanta just to meet with him and meet different producers and different people. I was actually going to meet Jermaine Dupri at his studio, and who rolls up? Usher in his Range Rover. Rolls up, and I was like, "Is that who I think it is?" And Scooter was like, "Yeah." And so I ran up to him. I was like, "Usher, I love your songs. You want me to sing you one?" And he was like, "Let's just go inside, little buddy. It's cold out." So the politest possible way he could say no, he did. And I was like, wow, he just turned me down. And I was a little disappointed. He had to go into a studio session, so I was like, whatever. And a week later, he actually watched my videos with my manager and was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I let him sing? So flew me back to Atlanta where I got to meet him again, and he wanted to sign me. But there was something else.
Justin Timberlake, right?
Yes, Justin Timberlake also wanted to sign me. It was like kind of like, what happened was Justin Timberlake and Usher both went into a ring and boxed it out. And the outcome was Usher. I think it was a TKO.
There were rumors in the industry that Diddy wanted to sign Justin, but didn't want to look like a predator. To keep the spotlight off him, Diddy used Usher to get access to Justin. Keep in mind that Usher knew exactly what Diddy was planning to do with Justin, and this was just history repeating itself. When Usher was 13, his mom had handed him over to Diddy. During his time with Diddy, Usher was exposed to sex and allegedly sexually abused by Diddy. Everyone in the industry, along with all of Diddy's friends, knew what Usher was going through, but they did nothing to stop it.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what
Camp.
it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans,
And your
Jodeci,
parents were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat, or are you just like, could you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. You know, I had like, you know,
what
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
When Usher handed Justin over to Diddy, the same thing happened to him. The cycle of abuse continued, and the victim-making machine kept going on.
They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. What kind of fucking asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you no more? Because that's what pedophiles do. They get victims, and then once they get to a certain age and they get too old for them to enjoy them, they send them out to go get other young kids. Now, if Usher is a procurer, and if Usher knew what was gonna happen to any of those young children that he took to the Flavor Freak off, is he a good guy? Especially considering what happened to him, especially considering that he sat Howard Stern and Howard Stern said, would you send your kids to Puffy's Flavor Camp? And his immediate response was, hell no! So it's good enough for everybody else's kids, but it's not good enough for yours.
Justin would later claim in a legal proceeding that meeting Usher was detrimental to his career. Usher used Justin to stay relevant and even invited him to his Super Bowl performance. Justin would later unfollow Usher and distance himself from his so-called mentor completely.
Career, do you know Raymond Usher IV?
No.
Do you know an individual entertainer by the name of Usher?
Yeah, Usher. That sounds familiar.
Isn't it true that Usher was instrumental in starting your career?
What does that have to do with this litigation, Mr. DeKalb? This is just you trying to harass the clients.
Before we came back here, you'd asked me.
She's gonna let her read back the question. Thank you for your memory. Is it true that Usher was very instrumental in starting?
I was found on YouTube. I think that I was detrimental to my own career.
The Bieber, Justin Bieber, is continuing the purge. He has now moved to unfollow Usher, okay, his original mentor. So this is a very big story. And the reason why we should discuss this and we should not diminish what is happening, it's not celebrity drama. This is actually the fall of Babylon that we are witnessing, Hollywood Babylon, that is. Of course, many people, I believe, are accurately assuming that this has something to do, one element has to do with the Diddy lawsuit. A lot of revelations were made in the Diddy lawsuit. So I'm going to start this by saying allegedly, okay, obviously, he has not yet been convicted of everything, but I knew that he was going to get arrested because after reading through this lawsuit, there were just so many pictures, way too many descriptions. He had hours of video footage proving his claims. I'm referring to the person who initially filed this, Rodney Lil Rod, a producer who went into great detail, laborious effort to basically describe almost a homosexual ring in which people were being drugged at various Diddy parties. But he describes how essentially him, being a young producer, they tried to initiate him into homosexuality. And I'm going to read this directly from a lawsuit. It says, quote, Mr. Combs, that's Diddy, used access to Stevie J and his knowledge that the producer, Mr. Jones, admired Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. But then there's a footnote in the filing, right? Because the names are redacted. And in the footnote, it reads that regarding the R&B singer that Diddy allegedly slept with, he performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. So this let people know that very clearly the name that was redacted had to have been Usher, because it was Usher who recently performed at the Super Bowl, and it was Usher at the time of this filing who had just had a very successful Vegas residency.
As a result of Diddy's abuse, Justin became traumatized and started using drugs. Recently, videos of Justin spaced out at concerts looking extremely thin have come out. In one video, Justin is even crying while Haley comforts him. Why is Justin crying? According to Terrence Howard, Justin and Usher were both abused, and now they can't get the abuse out of their heads.
I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that?
Justin Bieber's rep is breaking their silence on recent rumors regarding drug use. A rep for the singer, who shares 6-month-old son Jack Blues Bieber with wife Hailey Bieber, is firing back at recent claims that Justin has been using hard drugs. His rep tells TMZ on February 23rd that it's, quote, absolutely not true. His team adds that it's been a very transformative year for Justin as he, quote, ended several close friendships and business relationships that no longer served him. As Justin's 31st birthday approaches on March 1st, he's focused on his family and his music, not speculation about his health, which his rep calls, quote, exhausting and pitiful, and shows that despite the obvious truth, people are committed to keeping negative, salacious, harmful narratives alive.
Minors have never been safe in this industry. During Justin's parents, his mentors, and even his friends, everyone left him all alone. Justin mentioned how he wanted to protect Billie Eilish, and how he had noticed that Billie might be in danger. This is what Usher should have done instead of continuing the cycle of abuse that Diddy started.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and yeah, so yeah, I just want to protect her, I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Now, the real reason Justin has stayed quiet for so long is because of the evidence that Diddy has against him. Diddy has tapes that show minors being abused, and it's possible that he even forced them to do incriminating acts while under the influence of drugs. Diddy is blackmailing Justin and forcing him to stay quiet.
Well, considering that the is selling his own evidence that would put him in jail against him on the dark net to the highest bidder, why would he sell evidence of his debauchery and savagery? Why would he sell on the dark net his tapes of just terrible? Wanna know why? Because he doesn't intend to stand trial.
Is he protecting people, or are people protecting him?
Oh no, he's selling it because he needs the cash. The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
Shockingly, it wasn't just Diddy that was taking advantage of Justin. Justin recorded a song